Hi, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be analyzing a Reddit post on the Black women who have been weaponized to spread the undesirability message to other Black women online. And now they're including Asian men. So I know some of you here are new. Welcome to the channel. It's so great to have you here. Do not forget to like the video, share the video. And for those who are coming to this video for the first time, smash that subscribe button, grab yourself a glass of something nice, a little bit spicy, a little bit chilly, whatever you want. Come and sit down with me and we're gonna go deep into this video. It's gonna be very interesting. I'm gonna be discussing a lot. And here we have another stupid post from another weirdo. And this person is now saying, I'm a Black woman. How interesting. Okay, let's see what they say. They say here, I'm a Black woman. And I've always noticed that it seems as though men are least likely to be attracted to Black women. With the exception of Black men, I suppose. But even then, I've still heard a lot of, I don't date Black women, blah, blah, blah. Black women are unattractive, blah, blah, blah. As a Black woman who has grown up in an area with a low Black population, I noticed that it seems like non-Black men who are dating interracially are more likely to go for white, Latino, Mexican, Asian, blah. White men in particular tend to be a lot more attracted to Asian women than the other Black women from what I've observed. And I've seen Asian men talk about their dating struggles, and it also seems to me that non-Asian women don't typically seem very attracted to Asian men, open to dating them. Though I understand it. Oh, fuck's sake. I'm sorry, I can't get through the end of this fucking shit. Okay, I've read it. I'm so sorry. I just couldn't get to the end. It was just such a waste of calories for me. But I wanted to show you what is out there. Now, I've noticed there seems to be a very interesting sector of women online. Some of these women are Black women. Some of these women are Asian women. They could be any color. It really doesn't matter, right? But I've noticed that there is an interesting sector of Black women who seem to enjoy perpetuating the stereotype and perpetuating the social conditioning that I discussed in the previous video that is implemented against Black and Asian women. And now they're including Asian men in this as well. And I'm sure that some of this is based off that one dating app study that was like 50 gazillion years ago. But I've noticed that there's a very interesting sector of people online, especially women, that seem to really enjoy perpetuating this. They want to try and cement this. Now, as I've mentioned, we don't actually know if the person that wrote this is a Black woman or not, because there are many people cosplaying as Black women. And that's the thing about Reddit. I don't ever take anything that I read there too seriously, because you don't really know. Anyone can just come on there and go, you're at gym, and just write a whole load of mess, right? And it doesn't matter because you'll never know who they are because it's anonymous. So anybody can pretend to be a Black woman, pretend to be an Asian woman, and implement that social conditioning and, make stupid posts like this. And then that will get people talking, and then people will start saying, oh, I've had experiences and I'm the... So you don't actually know. You can't be too sure. So you can see from some of these comments here, right, that unfortunately there are Black women who perpetuate this myth that Black women are undesirable. They perpetuate it. They carry on the message. Look at some of the comments here. You see this lady talking about how Black women are masculine, talking about the weight size of Black women and how she had to get down to a certain size, that Black women are obese, blah, 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 and all that other yada, 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 yada. You can see in the comments, right, that there are Black women who have been weaponized and who are passing on along that message to other Black women. Do you know what's saddest about these type of Black women? It's clear that every single one of their points has been taken from the podcasts that they watch. Black women are masculine. They're obese. Where do you hear that from? Where do you hear that from? Does that sound familiar to you? Or the bargain base podcasts that you see with people who just take the last of their savings and rent out a hall somewhere and start a podcast. That's where all these talking points come from. These are women who listen to men who debase their image, and now they're spreading that message to you. One of of the things I've sincerely, truly noticed, right, is that they like to paint an overly generalized experience for Black women. And I noticed that they really focus heavily on, US dating, dating ideas and US conversations. And I noticed, like I said, there's a certain sector of women, Black women or Asian women, who are very much bought into this social conditioning, and they have now become the delivery system of the people who initially implemented this social conditioning to begin with. So what do I mean by that? I mean, there are people who want you to think that you are undesirable as a Black woman, as an Asian woman, and as an Asian man, and they are implanting that into you. And they know that it will stick with a couple of you because a couple of you suffer deeply from low self-esteem and insecurities, body dysmorphia, mental illness, anxiety, all of those things. And they know that that social conditioning, some of you, a lot of you will not be strong enough to fight that. So they are basically imparting that message onto you so that you can become that unintentional delivery system to then continue sending out that message to other Black women and Asian women and Asian men. But then the people that you're sending out the message to, they'll believe you because you're the same skin color as them. They will believe you, right? When they see the message coming from a Black woman, then they'll start to think, oh, wow, as Black women, we must be undesirable if a Black woman is saying this. As Asian women, we must be undesirable if an Asian woman is saying this. And now they're bringing in Asian men. So this is what they're doing. They're trying to create a delivery system to carry on their message. And what better delivery system than from someone who looks just like you? Now, these women are very strange. They're very strange. There's something not right in the head. Something very wrong has happened. But I want to explain that, I really don't like using the word pick me. But I'm going to use it in this instance because I've noticed that with women like this and people like this who post stuff like that, remember I said previously, they want to make it look as if every Black woman's experience is the same or every Asian man's experience is the same. And they don't consider any area around them. So there's, areas that are outside of where they live or outside of their, where they grew up or the country they're in. And I really want you to understand that I've noticed that there are some Black women who are like this. Especially Black women in the US, I've noticed this, unfortunately. And I understand why. I'll tell you why I understand why. Shall I tell you why? It's a little bit mad. Okay. I'll tell you why. Now, when I traveled to the US last year, right, I noticed that the way people used to talk about other states was very interesting. They would talk about other states as if it was a completely different world. So when I was in a taxi I was in an Uber and I was in North Carolina. I was in an Uber with a guy who mentioned that he had seen a lot of people from, New York and specifically Queens and specifically Harlem, that a lot of the people from Harlem and Queens, they were, coming down to North Carolina, specifically Raleigh, because that's where I was, right? And the way he spoke about New York, it was like it was a completely different world to him. And I've realized that with Americans, because they're so encased in America, a lot of them genuinely do think that America is the be-all and end-all of life. So they have no clue what goes on outside of America. They have no clue the kind of dynamics, the kind of dating dynamics that goes on outside of America, right? And a lot of Black women are like this, unfortunately. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the travel experience because traveling internationally is expensive. A lot of people cannot afford to travel internationally. And not only that, traveling to another state in America is extremely expensive, right? It's extremely expensive. A lot of people, their holiday is going from one state to another. It's like going to a completely different country when you're going from, so if you're traveling from like Florida and you're going all the way down to, I don't know, Mississippi, or you're traveling from Mississippi and you're going all the way down to, California or Boston. It's a completely different culture, different accent, different, it's completely different behaviors, different mindsets. So it's completely difficult for them to understand life outside of America, dating dynamics outside, because they don't travel out. And in their country, it's a big deal for them to even go to another state. It's like going to another country for them. Black women are now starting to travel, which is fantastic. But if I'm real, the reason why Black women like this, they're like generalizing. And like I said, we don't even know if this is a Black woman. This would be somebody painting themselves as a Black woman. But the reason, let's just say, for instance, let's just give this person a benefit of the doubt. Yeah, let's just say that they're a Black woman. The reason why you'll see them do stuff like that is because they don't actually understand that the majority of Black women in the world are not in America. They're not in the UK. They're not in Western world. It's why it's called the diaspora. The majority of Black women in the world are in Africa. That is the reality. The majority of Black women in the world, are not in the West. They're not in America. If you look at the statistics of Black people in the UK, there's a large concentration of Black people in London. And then as you go further out, the concentration just drops completely. When I went to Somerset in 2017, which is like this really old English town, it's like a place where you go to die. It's very old and it's it's one of those quaint English towns. Well, it's not a town. It's one of those quaint English, it's like a village town / city. But when I went there, it was very, very dull. And I was the only Black woman that I'd seen there. I was walking and walking and walking and walking and walking, and I did not see any Black woman for a while. I was like, where am I? Where am I, God? But essentially, right, they don't understand that Black women's experiences are completely different in different parts of the world. So if we take a look at the population by ethnicity in England and Wales, you can see that in London, there's actually quite a large population of Black people at 13.5%. But what's more interesting is, and this is the government statistics, by the way, according to the 2021 census, the presence of Asian people is actually a lot more than the presence of Black people in London, right? The population of Asian people is 20% in London, which is very interesting. And it's only rivaled by the population of white other, which is essentially, people who are white but not British. So maybe they come from other European countries, just Europeans in general, right? And then if you look at all the other parts of England and Wales, you see the amount of Black people drastically decreases. Drastically. In some places, Black people are literally 1% there. So this is what I'm trying to say. A lot of Black women don't understand that you are a minority in the West. The large amount of, and truly the majority of Black women are in Africa. Completely. Also, what's interesting is that Asian people, the population of Asian people is actually more than the population of Black people throughout England and Wales. I find that very, very interesting. And I wonder what other European countries look like when it comes to the percentage of Asian and Black people. And I want to expand a little bit into what I mean when I say, there are so many different dynamics outside of America for Black women. Okay, take my country, for example, Nigeria. Now, I was born in London, but I've schooled in Nigeria for a couple of years. And let me tell you something. There is more than 200 different tribes in Nigeria. So there are hundreds of languages, different cultures, different deities, different gods, different worship, different practices, different ideas. And can you imagine trying to determine the dating dynamics for Black women within all those different cultures and different communities and languages? Can you imagine how much effort that would... It's an impossible task. And this is what I mean. You can never actually understand how varied Black women's dating experiences, because the majority of Black women are not in the West. So take me, for example, right? And like I said, they're trying to implement this social conditioning so that you feel that you won't have the chance to interracial date. This could even be This could be anyone. It could be a black man. It could be a white woman. It could be anyone writing this. It could be a black woman writing this, as the person that said they're a black woman, but they've conveniently deleted the post and deleted their account. Interesting. But you know, they don't understand, and this is something I've noticed, right? Black women have a lot of different experiences across the world, especially when it comes to interracial dating. And they want to make you believe that, you know, this social conditioning, this negging, they want to make you believe that, oh, black women, you shouldn't even bother trying to open your options because it's not going to be possible for you. But we all know that's fucking false. We all know it's not true, right? But that's what they want you to believe. And if we look at me, for example, right, I have not had a problem interracial dating at all. I've not had an issue, right? And I'm extremely ruthless when it comes to my standards, what I want. You know, I don't have time for noise, for nonsense, I don't care. It's irrelevant to me, right? But I'm not the only black woman. I'm not the only Asian woman. I'm sure that many Asian men who have had quite a bit of success interracially dating, but they want you to believe that if you're an Asian woman, if you're a black woman, if you're an Asian man, that you're going to struggle with interracial dating. It's really not hard to just date somebody. It's not the hardest thing in the world, right? Especially if you're an open-minded person and, you know, you've traveled around and you've had experience of the world. Because if you're a black woman and you've traveled, and like us black women here in Europe, you know, some of us who were born here, like let's say for instance, I was born in London. I have traveled to so many parts of Europe, Africa, right? Obviously America as well, as I've just recently mentioned. But I've spent my life right from a young age going to Paris, going to places, you know, going to different parts of Europe. And the thing is, Europe it's so close. Everywhere is so close together. You can jump on a train and you'll be in France. You can jump on a coach, you'll be in France in 12 hours. Or you can jump on a train, you can jump on Eurostar, right? Or you can get on a plane and you'd be in Germany in a couple of hours. Look, when I flew to Poland, it took 2 hours to fly to Poland from the UK. It's not hard. Like,
yeah, but it was a couple of hours good driving.
And it's not every day you come to the military border of Ukraine. Great. So if I stepped over there, I'd be in Ukraine.
No, you went through the building.
If I went through that building, I would be in Ukraine. Can you imagine that? I'm not trying to go through that building though. No, I don't even want to try and go through that building. It's not even my fun. There's something so romantic about riding the train at 5 a.m. down to Marseille. Hello, people. Tracks. Yeah, that's it. Do you know what I find very interesting, right? This idea that black women don't really seem to understand that they have options. Like I've said it so many times on this channel, but I can see it's still not clicking inside the brain. The juice in the coconut is not juicing. Like seriously, I keep telling black women, the only person that's holding you back is yourself. The only person, you have had options all your life. You've had options all your life, right? You have, but you've been led to believe that you haven't, right? But now, and I understand why you felt like that. And I understand because back in the day, you know, especially before things like internet, you didn't have people to show you that you had options. You didn't have anyone that you could look up to and see that, hey, this person's doing this. You know, you weren't sure it was possible, but now you have the internet, and the internet, a lot of things are happening. Things are happening on the internet, right? So you know that you have options, but many Black women still don't truly believe it. Don't truly believe that they have options. And like I said, in this life, it's not enough to say something. You have to believe it truly. You have to keep saying it until it sinks into your head. You have to keep saying it until it. That's why people, you know, they say that they're confident, they say that they love themselves, but then they'll go and do things that show the exact opposite of that. Because it's one thing to say it, it's another to truly believe it. And the only way you really believe something is if you hammer it home inside your head. That's what I'm trying to do with you guys on this channel, with you ladies. That's why I always keep saying, you've got options. I need to hammer it into your head because you're still not getting it. Like, I can really see that many of you are still not getting it. What makes me, what I find even more interesting is that she talks for like Asian men. I find that very interesting. She talks on Asian men's experience. But I'm sure that there are plenty of Asian men who have had success with interracial dating. One thing I will say I've noticed about Asian men is they do tend to get upset when Asian women date out, but that's no different. That's no different from Black men being upset when Black women date out, because they are upset. They will come on my channel and write 1,000,001 biblical fucking epistles that they're not upset, but they are. You know, they'll quote the ancestors, they'll quote whatever biblical verse they can find, and they will tell you that they're getting their passports, and somehow they still won't leave. But they'll do everything possible to let you know that actually they're upset. So I don't see that as anything different to Asian men. You know, Asian men being upset that Asian women are dating out, that's no different to Black men being upset that Black women are dating out. This is no different. It's no different. And the fact that this post is even trying to talk about Asian men being somehow undesirable is completely hilarious to me. Because, listen, there are Asian men that are very much in demand, and they are very much able to date out, right? I remember and date interracially successfully, same as Black women. I'm one of them, my sister's one of them, right? And get good outcomes. Now, I remember when I was in A-levels, and A-level is that step you do in sixth form before you go to university in the UK. And I was doing my A-levels, and in my sixth form, there was this Asian guy. Now, I don't know what country he was from, but this man was absolutely beautiful. 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 He was beautiful. He had green eyes, like my fiance. Greg has green eyes as well. Greg has like hazel eyes, and he had green eyes, had this beautiful complexion, and he was very soft-spoken, very nice guy. You know, I remember we used to have conversations, we used to just chat about like stuff, because sometimes we would go home the same way, you know, and, you know, you always want to talk to your classmate when you're going home. It just honestly passes the time in that long fucking journey home. So we would talk a lot, and he was just such a nice guy. And I remember everybody in the class, all the girls were just, oh, Shaquille. His name was Shaquille, and all the girls were like, Shaquille, oh my God, Shaquille. Like, literally all the girls were falling over this guy. He was a very good looking guy, very handsome, very good looking guy. And, you know, he could have dated whoever he wanted, genuinely, right? And this idea that Asian men are undesirable, no. That's very bizarre. That's very bizarre. And there's also a weird element of, it also goes into like very bizarre terms, because people like to perpetuate that they are undesirable based on, you know, how do I put it? Based on intimate details, intimate bodily details. That's the way okay, leave me alone. That's the only way I can talk about it, okay? And that's not necessarily true. You honestly don't know what anybody has. until you're with that person in that intimate way. I don't really want to go into that more. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, that the idea that they're trying to perpetuate that is, I mean, it's bad enough that they're doing that with Black women and Asian women, but now Asian men. It's just, it never ends, does it? And one thing I will say is that both Asian men and Black men tend to be annoyed when they see Asian women and Black women dating and marrying white men. So white men seem to be the common denominator in their frustrations, especially when it comes to their female counterparts marrying out. They do seem to they do share that in common. Actually, I've noticed that they do share that in common. They both get very annoyed at that occurrence. In fact, I found that there have been quite a few Black women that are now dating Asian men. Do you guys remember that movie, that Netflix movie, Namaste Wahala? That came out. I started watching it and it cracked me up. It's so ridiculous. It's so funny. But it was an interesting portrayal of interracial dating amongst Black women and Asian men, especially with women who are African. That was very interesting. So yeah. Why these specific Black women that perpetuate this stereotype are so interesting to me is because, yes, they're pick me, but it goes beyond pick me. It's something deeper than that, right? This is the mind of someone who is confused. And a confused mind is interesting because a confused mind, it hasn't settled on an idea or opinion. It can be easily swayed in whatever direction. Whoever presents the most compelling and strong argument will be the one to win over a confused mind, essentially. So this person and women like this who perpetuate this social conditioning and negative negging and, of Black women and Asian men, when it comes to interracial dating and when it comes to just desirability in general, these are confused people. And they will go with whatever idea is pushed and is presented as the dominant and strongest idea. Now, right? This specific person, do you know one of the reasons why I find Black women like this interesting? Because they cause a lot of harm to other Black women. And the reason why they do so is because many of them, their desire is to be praised by men. And if you have this desire to be praised by men consistently, I'm telling you, you cannot be satisfied with yourself. You cannot develop proper self-esteem and confidence, because what will happen is your mindset and your ideas will change with whatever guy says whatever idea or whatever opinion to you. You will be like a house made out of sand, just crumbling in the cold weather, in the rain. You will be like a sandcastle that somebody made and then heavy storm just came and blew the sandcastle away. That is what you will be like. You will be like a sandcastle. But the sandcastle will not be sandcastling. That's what will happen. And these type of Black women, these very strange, bizarre, alienistic, Martian, moon-like Black women, right? They are dangerous because they live off the praise of men, and they live off the idea that, if they can other themselves in some type of way, then they will be the exception. Or, if they can point out that Black women are this and Black women are that, then they're going to be, congratulated for. And what I've realized is that these types of women, they are deeply, deeply entrenched in the male idea of what, how do I put it? They are deeply entrenched in what men think of them. And that's a very big problem. It's a very serious problem. Let me tell you something. Do you know how many comments on this channel I've gotten from men, Black men, telling me, you're this, you're that? Do you think I give two fucks? Right? Let me tell you what I see when men talk. When men talk, I see the birds on top of their head crashing into each other. That's what that's what I see, right? I never listen to them. I don't take them seriously. for the most part. The only men I tend to take seriously is my father, because my father is a wonderful man who's earned my deepest respect and adoration and love. And, you know, obviously husband to be, Greg, and, you know, my cousins and a couple of male friends, you know, but the group is very limited and very selected. And the reason why I listen to them is because they've proven and given me advice over and over again that has proven to be somewhat positive, beneficial, and helpful. The majority of things we hear from a guy as a woman will not be beneficial to you. That is a reality. It's a simple reality. So, do you know how many things I've heard from guys on my channel? Do you think it moves me? It does not move me. Do you know why? Because I don't base my mind off what guys think. My confidence, and this is one of the reasons why people are obsessed and will stalk my channel from now to the end of time, and they will never be like me. They will never have my mind. They will never have my strength of mind. And it comes from who I am. It comes from the way I think. It comes from my ideas. My ideas are my own. I don't allow my mind to be influenced by what men think of me, which is why guys will come on the channel and say a million one fucking things and I won't care. I'll just continue doing as I wish. I'll continue saying the same thing because I'm extremely strong. My foundation and the way I think is extremely strong. And when I tell you Black women and Asian women, you know, that you have options and that you shouldn't allow this social conditioning to affect you, I'm saying it truly what I think. My mind is not a mind to be won. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that. This person who's made this Reddit post, this is a mind who is yet to be won over by any dominant idea, right? This is a mind who is just, this is a delivery system. This person is a delivery system, as I said, for the social conditioning of Black women, and Asian men. But my mind is not open to be a delivery system of negative, stereotypical, and harmful ideals and stereotypes of Black women, and Asian men. My mind is not open for that. Now, I've realized that Black women like this, right? They are still very much in service of trying to please the men in the community. I've noticed that. Now, what you need to understand is trying to please people is an endless game, and it's a game that you won't win, right? Trying to please people is a game that you won't win. And Black women really don't understand this because they do everything possible, especially with the men in the community, right? And it backfires horrifically on you. Horrifically. Many of these women who are perpetuating ideas like this, right, online, they are doing it because they don't know who they are. They don't have a stable and solid foundation of the way they think. They don't actually have a real idea and grasp of what is going on outside in the real world, in different countries where Black women are. That is not the US. And look, I'm not saying that there isn't racism. As I said in my previous video, you can see that there is racism. We had those racist weirdos who made a post about me, but those are the losers of society. They've lost in every single capacity in life. They've lost in every single category. So those people's opinions are worthless. They haven't been able to achieve anything for themselves. So it doesn't matter which society they're in. They're losers completely, right? And that is the reality. They're completely lost and they're just whining that they're lost and they don't have the dating aspects. Sorry, they don't have the dating prospects that women have. I really want to urge other Black women, especially young Black girls, Asian women, and Asian men as well, who are trying to find their confidence when it comes to dating, to avoid worrying about people like this. I'm showing you this so that you can see it. Remember the mantra, see it, see through it, move past it. That's the mantra. You're seeing this now. You're seeing what these people, these are the delivery systems of the internet. So now you're seeing the bombastic nonsense. You know, look at this bombastic element. You're seeing what they are coming out with. And I want you to see it. I want you to see through it. I want you to move past it. And I really want you to understand that this doesn't mean it's going to be your experience. Yes, I'm sure that there are people who have struggled with dating. The majority of people in the world struggle with dating, right? This is a fact. Most people will have to date at least 1 or 2 or 3 people before they meet someone even remotely decent, even remotely on their, that meets their standard. And even then they might have to forgo a couple of things just to make, a compromise with that person. Majority of people in the world, right, are not just meeting the perfect person for them. And a lot of people don't even meet anyone at all. They go through life never even meeting anybody good or treating them well. And that happens to a lot of Black women, right? So I want you to understand that just because this person is perpetuating this idea and carrying on does not mean that it's going to be your personal experience. There are plenty of Black women and plenty of Asian men and Asian women, who have had absolutely fantastic success, dating interracially. I being one of them. Literally, my sister is married to a very, very, well-off guy. His father is, I'm not going to say any more than that, but they're very, very, very comfortable. The household is within, £250,000. Let me put it that way. So very, very comfortable household, and even me, I'm in a very, very comfortable situation. So I really, with my husband to be, so I really want you to understand that you are an individual person. Your experience will not be the same as somebody else's. And I really need Black women as well to understand this, especially the ones who haven't traveled out, the ones who are maybe still stuck in the mindset of looking at Black media or looking at Black relationships or Black celebrities and thinking that that's how everybody's relationship is. No, there are plenty of different dynamics happening when it comes to Black women, Asian men. There are plenty of dynamics happening all over the world. Okay, you need to go and experience and see what other people are doing. And all right, is she quite all right? Are you mad? Are you senseless? Are you bloody silly? Like, honestly, so many things came to my head. But one of the main ways they try to deliver this social conditioning when it comes to Black women, I've spoken about Black women, Asian women, but now also Asian men, is through dating apps. So they try to talk about how Black women have the worst experience on dating apps. Like, how do you know? And they try to base it off one dating study. As we can all see with the recent Bumble campaign, the majority of women do not enjoy their experiences on dating apps, regardless of skin color. In fact, the majority of people do not enjoy their experiences on dating apps. I'm actually extremely lucky that I met my husband to be on a dating app. I not only met my husband to be, I met 2 other relationships, one of which lasted 2 years on a dating app. So dating apps have always resulted in long-term relationships for me. And I'm sure I'm not the only Black woman that thinks that has happened to, but they will try and perpetuate this idea that Black women and Asian men don't have really, really suffered deeply. And maybe that might have been the case 15 years ago or 10 years ago when, Black women were still incredibly boxed in when it came to dating. Black women genuinely, they felt like they had no options. They felt like they had to be the saviors and they had to be the one to keep the community together while the Black man went off and did whatever it is he did. And now Black women are realizing that they don't have to do that. And actually they have the power to choose whatever path they want to take. The statistics are different. Things are changing, right? Obviously, they're not changing fast, but they are changing. Now, do you know what I've realized with Black women who perpetuate ideas like this to other Black women and other Asian women and Asian men and all of that? And they always seem to talk about, I've noticed they always seem to hold up white men as the standard when it comes to dating. Now, this is funny because I am marrying a white man. My sister is married to a white man. Very true. Right? And these men are very good men, top quality, high quality, top tier men, right? But let us not act as if every single white man in the world is high quality. There are plenty of men in this UK white men in this UK that I would literally not even bat an eyelid to, that I would never even give the time of day to, right? And I think with posts like this, a lot of, Black women seem to think that when you date interracially, that you can just go to anybody. You can't. You need to even understand the culture that person is coming from, because people don't understand. Not every white person speaks English. A lot of people don't understand it. They think every white person speaks English. Do you think every Black person has seen white people in the world? Absolutely not. Right? There are plenty of Black people that have never seen white people before. That might sound crazy to you, but there are also plenty of there are plenty of white people who don't speak a word of English. They speak their mother language or their mother tongue. And when people don't understand that, you have to understand where the culture of where this person is coming from, right? Just because that person may be white, you don't know the family history they have, you don't know the ethnic, you don't know the country, you don't know the traditions, you don't know. So you need to understand where that guy is coming from first, and I think a lot of Black women, especially women like this, they seem to hold, white men up as if, every single white man will be suitable to you. I say Black women, expand your options, but that can be any multitude of guy. It doesn't have to be a white guy. It could be somebody it could be an Asian man. It could be, it could be a biracial guy. It could be, a Black guy. It really could be whoever suits you the best and treats you the best. And that's literally what I've always tried to tell Black women. Don't go thinking that, every white man in the world is good to date. Otherwise, you're going to end up with some stories where these Black women come and say, I had really bad experiences dating white men. They're really, really terrible. They treated me really badly. It was just really terrible. Or, oh my God, you should see how white men treated me. They're just as bad as Black men. Yes, they can be just as bad as Black men, if not worse. Many of them can be. Men in general can be very, very wicked. Extremely wicked and terrible, right? You have to know how to manage them. You have to know how to make sure that you are always being treated well and your needs are being met and you're being, taken care of, and, they're showing you love, care, and attention, and they're respecting you. So I've noticed that, Black women like this, they seem to think that, when it comes to dating out, they automatically defer to white men. Now, obviously, I'm in a loving relationship, but soon to be married. But listen, not every guy, right, will be a good candidate for you. In fact, the majority of men you meet in your lifetime will be absolutely terrible fucking candidates. I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to be horrible. The majority of men you meet in your life will be terrible candidates for you in a relationship. A lot of people won't even understand what I mean when I say it will be groundbreaking for some people when they hear what I say when I say not every white person speaks English. When I was in France back in 2022, so I've traveled. I have a very interesting relationship with France. I've traveled to France since I was a child, right? And I've been to a lot of cities in France. And I went to Nice and Cannes in 2022 because I have a French friend there, and there was plenty of French people who did not speak English. Maybe they do know how to speak English, but plenty of them did not want to. And I understand why. They have pride in their language. A lot of people don't understand. There are a lot of white people who do not speak English. My mother-in-law, my future mother-in-law, she speaks not one word of English. It's literally all Polish. And she was brought up during the Soviet Union era. So she was taught German, Russian, and her language, but they weren't allowed to learn English during that time. Obviously, because that was a Western idea, and Western ideas were banned during that time, especially in her area, her village, Przemyśl, which is where me and Greg went to visit in our previous trip to Poland last year, which I vlogged. You can check it up here. I also don't want every Black woman to think that every white guy will just be like spoiling you. Like the way Greg spoils me, even like the way Greg spoils me, or the way I got spoiled on dates before I met Greg. Listen, Not every white guy is going to be doing that. It really depends, like I said, on the culture of the man. Greg is very traditional. He's Polish. He's very traditional. He comes from a traditional household where men are taught to be the ones to, provide, take care of the household. But it depends on where you are. In Sweden, I'll show you a couple of bits here. This Instagram post I saw, and the Swedish women were complaining deeply about the Swedish men. They were complaining. They said these guys are stingy, that they have a very egalitarian, which is interesting actually, because a lot of people, especially black women, a lot of black women don't know that a lot of the European nations are literally only being held up by the fact that women are doing 50-50. If those women were not doing 50-50, a lot of those nations would not be able to cope, right? Because a lot of those nations, they are trying very hard to implement equal rights and remove gender roles completely. They want complete fluidity. So a woman can do anything, a guy can do anything within the confines of the relationship. And you'll see from some of these comments, you'll see a lot of women complaining that Swedish men are stingy, they don't pay for dates, they want you to be doing all sorts, to pay for your own date, and then to be, act like their mom. Now, I don't know anything about Swedish guys. My brother-in-law is actually Danish. He's from Denmark. But I don't know specifically about Swedish men. But listen, if the Swedish women are saying it, they are the authority on their guys. So I'm not going to go against that, right? Now, I think a lot of women do tend to think that, just because a guy is white, he will be spoiling you. Please don't think like that. Don't think like that. As I've said, it depends on the man. It depends on how he was raised, his culture, where he comes from, his family background, his experiences in life, his value systems, his morals, if he has any integrity, his honor, his characteristics, his flaws, and how he combats those flaws, if he combats those flaws, because a lot of men don't even work on the flaws that they have. It really depends. There's so many variables, right? So don't go and think that just because a guy is white, no, he will spoil you. My fiance, my husband to be, he spoils me a lot. But it's based on who he is and how he sees me. It's not based on him being white. So I really want you to get rid of it. Just cut. Just chop. Boom. Chop. Chop that idea. Okay? Great. And listen, ladies, I've been going on amazing dates for a very long time. And listen, it really depends on the guy. You don't just think automatically that because the guy is white that he's going to take you out on a nice date. Any guy of any skin color can take you out on a nice date. It depends on his characters, how he was brought up, how he was raised, whether he sees that as normal behavior or not. This is a picture of me and my ex-boyfriend who I was with for 2 years. He's the ex before I met Greg. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know. It is what it is. But and look, let's not talk about that wig, okay? Cachifo to the wig. Cachifo to that wig. Let's not talk about that wig. But I just wanted to, show you that I've been going on lovely dates, and this has been happening for years and years, even before I met Greg. And they'll try and make you believe that as a black woman that, and this ex I met on a dating app as well. Because remember, I've told you about my history on dating apps. And they'll try and make you believe that as a black woman, all black women are having absolutely terrible experiences on dating apps and none of them are getting dates. Now, don't get me wrong. There are black women that are being treated quite badly and there are black women that are struggling. But they want to make it look as if every black woman gets treated really badly and just gets ignored on dating apps. No, I'm sure there are plenty of black women like me who have been going out on fabulous dates for years. I just wanted to show you some of my dates because I have been going on dates for years, like many really nice, gorgeous places for years now. Most people have more negative relationships than positive. Okay, unfortunately, that's the reality. But one thing I'll say, and I want to take this into another scenario. So I want to explain a bit more to you. Right? Is women like this, they end up like Gabriella Elizondo. So, if you don't know, you don't know, okay? But listen, we all know Gabriella Elizondo, and if you don't know, you really need to get to know him fast. You need to get to know Gabriella Elizondo because this is a very interesting character. This is one of the matriarchs of the telenovela Pasión de Galavines, which I watched, at the beginning of the year. And actually, no, I watched it all the way throughout Christmas last year when I was with Greg, when we stayed over at Greg's house. It was our first Christmas together as an engaged couple. And I watched it throughout the Christmas. I watched season 1, which was filmed 20 something years ago. And then I just got through season 2. And in this show, Gabriela Elizondo is the matriarch, and she falls prey to a male gold digger, Fernanda Escandon. Now, if you guys don't know Fernanda Escandon, this is a fabulous depiction of a male gold digger. It's one of the best depictions I have ever seen on a TV show of a male gold digger. This man was a gold digger, and this is the thing. Men don't understand what the word gold digger means. A lot of them always apply the word gold digger to a woman who wants to be taken out on a date and just eat some nice food, or she wants to be taken to a nice restaurant, or she wants to be given flowers or something, or she wants to be treated to a nice gift. They apply stuff, basic things that should be normal in a relationship. They will apply gold digger status to. But this man, he was the worst of the worst, the most wicked of men, right? He kidnapped her father and sent him to a mental home. He tried to essay her daughters. He tried to unalive her grandson. He married her for her money. Gabriela Elizondo. He did not love or care about her at all, and he planned it down to the last detail. On their wedding night, this man slept with a bunch of prostitutes and didn't come back early until the morning. And when he came back after she spent all night waiting up for him, what did he do? He fell straight into bed after having a whole night of debauchery. This man was a kidnapper, a violent man who beat Gabriela, and she still stayed. Throughout all of these things I listed, she stuck up for him in every single horrific scenario he put her through. She stuck up for this man. She stuck up for him when he tried to essay her daughters and her daughters warned her. She stuck up for him when he tried to unalive her grandson and her daughters warned her. She stuck up for him when he went out and cheated on her with 7 million people. She stuck up for him when he gambled her entire money and fortune away, her dead husband's money away, because she was a widow who remarried him. She stuck up for him and she stayed with him when she had no friends left, no family, and he completely isolated her. And her love and her desire to be praised by this man, her desire to be praised, to be adored, and to be loved by this guy was so great that it overpowered her love for her children, her love for herself, her love for her safety, her finances, her mental health, her physical health, and she almost lost her life. And her family almost lost their lives because of her refusal to let go and to actually see this guy for who he was. He was one of the best depictions of a male gold digger I've ever seen. You must watch this show if you've not watched it, because it's a classic. Classica. Seriously, it's a classic, right? And Black women who think like this, they are the Gabriela Elizondos. They are very easy and ripe for men like that. Very, very easy and ripe, because they're confused. Their minds are confused and they're very easily swayed by whatever idea is presented to them. Now, and not only are they easily swayed, but they'll go and deliver that idea to other Black women in the hopes of confusing you as well. So, literally, they'll go and deliver, this is what they're doing. Can you not see this post? This is what they're doing. Look at the comments, right? And these are the Gabriel Elizondos. They have essentially, placed the praise of men and the praise of men that they desire so high above everything that they lose all common sense, all self-esteem, all knowledge, all, just all intelligence, really, all critical thinking skills. They lose it all. They lose, well, a lot of them never even had self-esteem and confidence to begin with, but even the little that they do have, they lose it. And they pour it all into this guy. And you end up with women like this who perpetuate the idea that Black women are undesirable in interracial dating, who perpetuate the idea that Asian men and Asian women as well. It doesn't just stop at Black women. People like this, it goes into other groups. It doesn't just stop at Black women. They start spreading this amongst other groups. So this is how severe this conditioning is. You have to be extremely strong. You have to be extremely strong in your thinking and strong in your thoughts to overcome this kind of conditioning, because it's very, very subtle, and if you consume content like this, and like I said, I don't want you guys to consume content like this, but I want to show you so that you are armed against this, because a lot of women, unfortunately, right, they're not armed against stuff like this. They see it and it affects them immediately. They see it and it works. It works. They don't even know when it starts working, but it works slowly in the mind like a poison, right? And then before you know it, you are thinking, oh, well, nobody likes us. Nah, 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 nah. And they've done their magic. The magic is magica. They've done their magic and it's working. You are beginning to think less of yourself. You're beginning to think that you don't have options in life. And listen, you do. You do. I really want Black women, Asian men. I'm even speaking to you because I don't even speak to Asian men, really. This channel is for Black women, but I'm speaking to you here. Many of you have many chances to date whoever you want and date whoever, treats you well and whoever treats you the best. Okay? Enough, he met his end trying to kill the very same woman who had given up everything for him, right? And this is what happens to a lot of women who, perpetuate ideas like this. You won't even know when you start putting everything a man says as the most important thing in your life. That is a sickness. Once you start doing stuff like that, a man can tell you anything. A man can tell you you're undesirable and you'll believe him. A man can tell you you're this and you'll believe him. A man can tell you that you believe him. And let me tell you something. A woman who is controlled by a man's words is a slave. Not only are you a slave, but you're also going to be the recipient of whatever he's telling you. So if he's telling you, listen, you ain't this, you ain't that, you're going to believe it, but you're also going to suffer the consequences of whatever he's telling you because you believe whatever he's telling you. A woman that listens too much and puts a man's words as the be-all and end-all ends up like Gabriela Elizondo. 100% ends up like Gabriela Elizondo because you lose your self-confidence, you lose your common sense, you lose your self-esteem when you put what a guy thinks, especially when it comes to dating, especially when it comes to who they believe is desirable, who they believe is not desirable. Listen, rarely do a man's words match up with their actions. Very rarely. This is why it's very difficult to meet a man that's honorable and to meet a man that has integrity, because most men don't say what they mean. Most men don't say what they mean and they don't do what they say, right? So rarely will you see a man who is honorable and has integrity, because most men will fail to meet the words that they talk, which is why it's very, very, very detrimental for Black women to buy into men's words when it comes to desirability, right? Men will be with anything. They will be with living, non-living. In fact, I will make a video because I've drawn up a whole list on the reasons why women don't need to bother changing themselves for anybody, right? Because there's always going to be guys that are interested. But this is what happens when women put a man's praise on them as the be-all and end-all. And women are very, very moved by what they hear when it comes to men. Extremely. They are extremely moved by men's words. way more than men's actions, which is why many women fall into this trap, especially black women. They end up perpetuating ideals like this because they've been listening to what the men have been saying on these shitty podcasts. They've been listening to what the men have been saying online. They've been listening. But if you look deeper into all those supposed relationships that the guys say that they have, the relationships are terrible. With the supposed preferences that they say that they have, the relationships are horrific. The women are getting dragged down hallways like Cassie, or they're getting flung into televisions. Right? So you need to stop putting what guys say as the be all and end all. Start looking at the actions, and you will notice that the majority of men's actions never match up to the words. So the words are pointless to begin with. So yeah, as I said, men really don't understand what a gold digger is. But Fernando Escandon was a fantastic depiction of a gold digger. A gold digger, it doesn't just want, it's not about, buying a woman a dress, or buying her a bracelet, or buying her a meal at a restaurant. This is someone who wants to systematically take every single thing that you have, down to your house, your assets, clear your entire bank account, your belongings, just any chance of you even making income, your income streams, your future generation. They want to completely remove every single thing you own, down to the last penny. That is what a gold digger is. It's completely different from a woman having standards in dating. It's completely different. With Fernando Escandon, he drained Gabriela Elizondo down to the last penny, gambled away her fortune, sold her ranches, tried to sell her house underneath her. This is what we're talking about when we say gold digger. It is completely, it's a completely next level. It's not a woman having standards for how she wants to be treated while she's being dated. It's someone who wants to take every single thing you have, right, in this life. Even if they have to take your life to get that, that's what a gold digger is. It's completely different. Men have completely changed the actual meaning of that word, because if you're a gold digger, you don't have any feelings for this person. You don't care if this person lives or dies. It's just about what they have. That's it. So yeah, Fernando Escandon is a fabulous depiction of a male gold digger, right? This is a person that will kill you to get what they have, to get what you have, essentially. You see, this is why you have to be very careful of Black women who like to perpetuate the same harmful rhetoric that other men perpetuate against Black women, against, Asian women, Asian men. You have to be careful of Black women like this, because those women have essentially fallen into that trap where they now put everything a man says above common sense, critical thinking, and just experiences. And when you are following the words of men, you will suffer, because men don't keep their own word. So you will find that the words that you follow don't get you the outcomes that you expect, because they don't keep their own words, but they'll expect you to keep their word. And you will find that you will suffer greatly. Look at the marriage of Chioma and Davido, right? Look at the marriage of Chioma and Davido. That man has embarrassed her so many times, right? That man has cheated. He cheated on her so many times. The embarrassment, the humiliation. I am a ruthless woman. I cannot stand embarrassment. I hate any guy trying to believe that he can embarrass me, or, he can show disrespect. This is infuriating for me. And I have extremely low tolerance, zero tolerance. I have zero tolerance for cheating. I don't tolerate that. And, fortunately, I haven't experienced that in a very, very long time. The first ever relationship I had when I was 18, which was with that dusty idiot that I was with at the time, that was the only relationship I experienced cheating, because I learned and I wised up very, very fast. And if you look at and with that relationship, I dumped him, and he spent the next 3 years begging for me. And I said, nope. And I'm the kind of person that once I am not interested in you, there is nothing on this planet that will ever make me interested in you again. Once I have lost interest in you, there is nothing on this planet. you would have to be born again. And even if you were born again, if I knew it was you, I still wouldn't like you again. I'm that kind of person. Once I am done and I don't like you anymore, there's nothing on this planet that will make me like you anymore. That's it. And if you look at the marriage of Chioma and Davido, right? Chioma is so desperate to marry this guy because she's been with him for a long time. But this man has cheated and humiliated her so much. He has, been with women in the public eye while he was with her, created children in a marriage with her. Sorry, not in a marriage, but created children while in a relationship with her. And not just one child, he's created multiple children with multiple women while in a relationship with her. They had a child who unfortunately perished, rest in peace. And he was cheating on her in public months after the child died. I mean, this is someone who is, I don't even know how to explain it. The only thing he can afford to have is money. He can't afford anything else, right? He can't afford anything else other than money because integrity and honor he does not have. And this is a woman who is happy with this. She is happy with this because, the words that he said to her are enough for her to stay. The status, the money, and everything is enough, right? But women like this, you see a lot of them will perpetuate harmful ideas. I'm telling you, men will sing sweet nothings in your ear. Didn't he go to Chioma? You're my assurance, your assurance, assurance, lifetime insurance. Didn't he have her in his music video? Yes, he did. And guess what? The cheating continues and it never stops. So if you listen to men's words, you will suffer deeply. That doesn't mean that you need to be horrible and argumentative and you need to be rude in a relationship. Of course not. Treat your partner nicely. Don't get me wrong. If a guy is good and he's doing good, right? Treat him nicely. But that doesn't mean you follow everything, every idea a guy puts out blindly, especially these men who are putting out this idea that Black women are undesirable or cannot succeed in interracial dating. Do you know that they want to have control over you? I see it all the time. Black men come on my channel, they make comments, don't stop talking about Black women dating out, stop talking about it, because they want to have you in the palm of their hand. And when you are used to having control over something, you become addicted to that control. When you're used to having control over a group of people, it's one of the reasons why, when it comes to Black women dating out, it's so difficult because they've been under lock and key for a very long time. They've been under lock and key to the idea of, staying faithful to a group of men who have really, really done them shaggy. I have to say done them shaggy because the way I see, right, especially Black American men, the way I see them talk about Black American women is horrific, right? It is horrific. I don't even see Nigerian men talking about Nigerian women that way. I'm so sorry. I don't see them talking about, maybe they'll say a couple of things on blogs, but not all these videos upon videos upon videos of the way they talk about it's a sign of when you are too familiar with something, it breeds contempt. And that's essentially what's happened. They are so familiar with your love, your care, your help, but they have started experiencing and, displaying contempt, the way they treat Black women, the way Black women are treated so badly, and this is one of the reasons why, you'll see them saying, oh, don't date out, you can't do this, you can't do that, and why you'll see a lot of podcasts. I don't watch any of this podcast. I'm so sorry. I don't watch that. I don't fill my head with that nonsense. I am not a person that is easy to influence. I am extremely difficult to influence, right? I was an influencer, so I know what that is. I was an Instagram influencer. I am extremely difficult to influence, especially when it comes to stuff like that. I don't listen. It doesn't go into my head. I don't listen. And I've really understood that a lot of these guys, they genuinely, they enjoy the control over Black women. Now, that doesn't mean that all of them are horrific. No, of course not. But they perpetuate ideas like this for Black women to absorb, to internalize, and then for Black women to continue sprouting out ideas like this to other Black women. They want you to believe that you are undesirable, and they're using you to deliver the message to yourselves. I think that's absolutely hilarious. I think it's actually quite ingenious. Actually, it's one of the better tactics that they've had, because it actually works. It actually works. Black women genuinely, from what I've seen, a lot of them genuinely do tend to think that they don't have the chance of date out and that they're undesirable. Unfortunately, I've noticed that it is changing. The mindset is changing, but listen, the mindset that those guys are trying to condition you, it's working. I see it. So you have to be mindful of that. You have to understand. And this is why they'll come on my channel and they'll scream 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 from now till Jericho. But it's because, when you've had control over a certain group of people, you will be loath to let that control go. You will not let that control go easily. You won't let it go without a fight, for sure. You know what's interesting for me is that relationships like Chioma and Davido are being pushed as the pinnacle of Black love and Black relationships in Black society and, places like Nigeria. Obviously, you guys know that Davido is a Nigerian musician, very popular, and has collaborated with many American singers before. But that's essentially what's being pushed out to Black women, that the best you can hope to achieve is a man who provides you with money and comfort, but humiliates and cheats on you in front of the entire world over and over again, and even the death of your child will not be enough to stop him from cheating. This is what is being pushed as the best outcome for Black women in the Black community, especially Black women who are obsessed with Black love. That is what is being pushed as your ultimate and most favorable outcome. I don't know about you, but that is not relationship success to me. A man who consistently disrespects you, creates multiple children on you in a relationship in front of the entire world, parades his, mistresses and his bits on the side consistently in your face on social media everywhere. This is not the idea of a relationship success to me, and I don't think it should be the idea of relationship success to Black women. I think Black women can do better. I think they deserve better than that nonsense, right? It doesn't matter who the guy is. For me personally, I hate disrespect, especially from someone who's supposed to be my partner. I don't like the idea of women feeling like they can talk. Oh, your husband did this with me. He did this with me. No, life is too short for all that mess. That stresses somebody out, If you're dealing with a man who's consistently stepping out on you and he's inviting other women into your life, creating children, that will bring additional stress to your life, because then now you have to think about what those other women are saying. You have to think about what they're doing. They start saying things, start creating problems for you. This is all unnecessary stress, which drains a woman's life, drains many Black women's lives, makes their lives harder, makes them sick. Right? And this is what is being touted as your best outcome in the Black community. How lovely. I love that. Sounds good, doesn't it? So lastly, essentially what I'm trying to say with this post, and listen, for all the Asian women and any Asian men that may come on the channel and watch this, I don't want you to internalize this, but I want you to see through it and move past it. And which is why I say that, so you are armed with the knowledge so that you can see through it and combat that. But the Black women who perpetuate this mindset are essentially Black women who have submitted to the ideas that have been put out to negatively stereotype them. And a lot of the time, it's really easily solved by just traveling, moving out of the area that you're in, and just seeing that life isn't like everywhere in one specific area, that there are so many different dynamics happening in so many different parts of the world, especially when it comes to Black women and dating. So these are the type of Black women that are very dangerous, because they've submitted to the negative stereotypes put out against black women. So you can't learn anything from them. All you're going to do is regress. You're going to regress back into the same type of thinking that keeps you, you know, trapped, keeps you from growing, keeps you from moving and discovering, you know, better relationship dynamics. I always get men on the channel saying, oh my God, we don't comment on your channel, we don't comment. But actually, almost half of my audience on YouTube is made up of men. My YouTube analytics has showed me that men are 40% of my channel, which is actually quite a large chunk considering that my channel caters towards women. So yeah, you can just give up that whole game. I see you. I see you. You're here. It's okay, admit it. It's fine. I don't mind you being here, actually. It's good. But this whole idea, one thing I will say, one interesting thing about my experience, I think, is I've actually gotten a lot of things done for me by guys without having to, you know, submit to any idea that they perpetuate. And it's because my mind is so strong in what I think, right? And, you know, when you meet someone that has a strong mind, it's hard for you to be able to influence them, you know, especially if you want to influence them negatively to believe in things that will dampen their self-esteem. It becomes very hard for you to try and influence and affect their self-esteem. And I've found that a lot of the time I've had a lot of things done for me, you know, and, you know, I've had a lot of fantastic experiences, which I discussed in the previous video, you know, and luxury experiences done for me by men without actually needing to submit to their ideas or without actually needing to believe the words that they say, per se. It's about believing in what I think and then watching their actions and see if it matches up with their words, essentially. I really want black women to realize that you are beautiful, you are amazing, you are stunning. You will definitely be found desirable wherever you go. And not only will you be found desirable, but you have options to interracially date if you so want to. And the same goes with Asian women and Asian men. You have the option. Don't ever let anyone think otherwise. And you know what? The ingenuity of this post is that it doesn't really matter if the person is black. It doesn't really matter if the person who wrote this post is a black woman. It could be a black woman. It could be somebody else, but it doesn't matter. As far as they've said that they're a black woman, that is what you have in your head. You may have it in your head that it's not a black woman, but even if it's not a black woman, it won't matter because they've got the message that they want to get out. Whether they are a black woman or whether they're parading as a black woman, it doesn't matter, which is very interesting, actually. I find the post very interesting because it doesn't matter if that person is black or if the person isn't black. They've gotten the message, the social conditioning that they want to. So that's why you also have to be careful with this message, with this social conditioning, because you can't trust who is delivering the message to you. You can't trust that that person is is a black woman influenced by other people who are delivering the message, or if it's the original people delivering the message themselves. You can't prove. So you have to be very careful. And you have to, this is why you can't just see something and internalize it. And I really want black women, especially, to understand you have to avoid internalizing negative things about you. Otherwise, you are going to be paralyzed to do anything, to have any confidence, to make any moves for yourself in life. And I don't want that for you. Seriously, I don't want that for black women, for black girls, for Asian women, for Asian girls. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for Asian men either. Like, I don't want that for you, genuinely. Yes, that was all I had to say. I wanted to show you this Reddit post and I wanted to discuss about the very strange black women who perpetuate this idea of black women being undesirable and Asian men being undesirable and white men being the most suitable candidates when it comes to interracial dating, when actually interracial dating is very varied. And when you date interracially, it doesn't mean you will date or marry a white man. You could date interracially with somebody else who isn't white, right? And I just wanted to touch on this conditioning and how black women are actually being used to pass this conditioning on to black women and other black women and, you know, Asian women and Asian men. So don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed the video. And don't forget to share the video and put your notifications on because there's going to be much more interesting content coming on the channel. This was like the longest video I've made. So, well, yeah, the longest video I've made on the channel. I thought the last video was going to be long, but this is absolutely astronomical. It was atrocious. It was ridiculous. It was very, very difficult, but we got here. So thank you very much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. I love all the new subscribers on the channel. I want to welcome you. I want to thank you so much for joining, and I hope you learn new things, and I hope your mind is enriched every time you come on the channel and watch my videos. So yes, don't forget with this social conditioning, when you see it online, see through it. Say it with me, see through it. See through it. Move past it. So say it with me. See it, see through it, move past it. Okay? And you will be able to navigate the dating world without losing your mind. Especially dating apps, especially interracial dating, if that is what you so wish. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later. Take care, my loves. Bye.